this is the Reno 4 Pro retail packaging. Looks pretty simple. We just have the name of the phone, Reno 4 Pro, on the top, and that's about it. And this is the 8GB RAM, 128GB storage variant. So let's take the outer wrapping off and see what we get inside. First off, in the box we have this little sleeve. Let's see what's in here. This should be the case, which it is. It's a simple clear silicone case. There's also the SIM eject tool and some quick start guide, regulatory information, etc. Next up, we finally have the phone. So let's take it out of this wrapping. There we go. Looks really nice. We have this matte finish to the back. Let's keep this aside, boot it up and keep it aside for now. So this is the superVOOC charger. This is a 65 watt charger, which is pretty neat. Type-C cable. And finally we have a headset, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so I'm just going to go and set this phone up real quick, and I'll be with you in a flash. Okay, so I've done the basic setup of the Reno 4, and let's take a closer look at the phone itself. Now, the first thing that you're going to notice as soon as you take it out of the box is how insanely light it is. So according to Oppo, the Reno 4 Pro is just 7.7 millimeters thick. So as you can see, it looks and it does feel, in fact, really slim. And it's only 161 grams, which is insanely light for a phone with this bigger display. So impressive work all around, I think, on terms of ergonomics and even the overall design of the phone. I think they've really nailed the weight, which is kind of ironical considering the name says silky white, but the surface is actually not silky. You can actually hear the slight texture on the surface. Let's take a tour of the phone. So on the side we have the volume buttons. We have a power button here. Down at the bottom there is a headphone jack, which is always nice to see. Type-C port, speaker, and oh, the SIM tray is on the top. Let's pop this open and see. And oh, it is a triple slot, so you can have 2 SIMs and a micro SD card, which is cool. So let's start talking about the display. So in the front we have a 6.5 inch. This is a full HD plus AMOLED display. You also get a 90 Hz refresh rate, which is great. And a couple of things about the display is that it has a peak brightness of 1100 nits, which is pretty high, so that's good. And you also get a touch sampling rate of 180 Hz, which is fairly good as well. Another thing is that according to Oppo, the display is also certified by TÜV Rheinland for eye care protection. So it should ideally deliver lesser blue light when you're viewing it. So you shouldn't feel that much of a strain if you're using it for long periods of time. This one has 8GB of RAM and you get 128GB of storage. And it's powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 720G SoC. Now, while we're here, let's talk about the software as well. So this is running on ColorOS version 7.2. The phone also has a 4000 milliamp hour battery underneath. It comes with Oppo's superVOOC 2.0 fast charging, and this supports 65 watt fast charging. That's right, you didn't hear me wrong. It's actually 65 watts, which is insane. Finally, let's get into the cameras themselves. So let's start off with the front camera perhaps. It's just a single one. You get a hole punch cut out here, but it is a pretty good camera. This is the Sony IMX616 sensor. Okay, so coming to the rear cameras, I quite like what Oppo has done here. It looks quite neat. We also have a little messaging over here which says innovative quad cam. Coming to the sensors, we have a primary 48 megapixel camera, and this is the Sony IMX586. So then we also have an 8 megapixel wide angle camera, and the other two cameras are 2 megapixel sensors. You get one macro and one monochrome sensor. So one more thing that I should mention is that this has an AMOLED display. It's a full HD plus resolution, and because of that you also get an in-display fingerprint sensor, which I have already set up. Another thing that I should touch upon is that the phone does support Dolby Atmos for